Alrighty, hello everybody. Been a very busy day for my channel here today, but you know what? That's good because I don't have a lot of videos on my channel up to now, and this one will be pretty easy for me to do because I pretty much already have the script written by what I've posted on my channel in the community section. So, if you want to, you can stop right now and go to the community section or the post section on my channel page rather, and go up through the top 13 or 14 posts there. There's like 12 to 15 something polls there. And you can go ahead and vote in those, or you can wait until the end of the video after I've explained my polls and all my thinking and methodology and why I'm doing this and everything, and then you can go and vote on the polls and whatnot. But anyways, so this is a series of polls I posted, and I got to give a hat tip to Examining Origins here, Rebekah over at Examining Origins. She had a fun, creative, great idea I really liked. Actually, she posted some polls on her channel, and I weighed in a little bit and was like, this is a good idea, but I think let's I have some ideas for how it could expand. And so I was like, immediately one of the ways it can expand is just one poll isn't good enough. So I came up with like 10 to 15 different polls, all on different relevant topics, and I thought it would be great to it would be good just as an okay simple random sample to measure people who interact with my channel and some of the science tuber audiences, and if I can get wide enough reach, the general, it won't be a perfect simple random sample because of obvious reasons, but and I thought it would be fun as a chance to talk about statistics a little bit too. It would be fun and interesting as a video, and I pretty much already have it up and ready to go. So, whoops, gosh, dang it. My StreamYard is just it dropped my sharing screen there, didn't it? Okay, well anyways, we'll get it back up and running, but keep talking about, until we get it set up. So, the goal here is to measure some opinions on science and get some, fun sociological data, and I thought that it would be interesting to get some conversations going in a textual modality, uh, instead of the usual videos and shouting over each other that can often become the case in the kind of terminally online debate bro, truth and philosophy as blood sport types. You know the types. I won't name them all by name, but anyways, okay. So came up with this series of polls to measure some sociological data. And why isn't it showing it? Here we go. Oh, I'm getting an echo here. Oh, I'm getting an echo here. Oh, I'm getting an echo here. That was the problem. Okay, weird. Anyways. Oh, that's why, because the mic is unmuted on that, even though, okay, that fixed it. All right. Anyways, so I made these series of polls here to measure my audience's view on key scientific topics. Uh, I also made a post to tell people what I'm doing and tell them, yeah, I am analyzing your answers. I want honest answers, regardless of where people stand on the issues. I'm not trying to trick anybody, but I do want to get an accurate sample, and I want to get an accurate measurement. And this is where, so that covers the why. Here's where the video gets into kind of the fun part, is the how. So statistics is actually really freaking hard. If you haven't studied statistics, fun fact, it's hard. to prove correlations between stuff. And we've created hierarchies of evidence, and surveys and uh, canvassing and gosh, there's another word for surveys. Censuses are actually not very great for collecting data, as it turns out. They have a lot of problems, and some of those problems go down to the very core of statistics. So, one thing that I like about this series of polls that I've come up with is that the way I've designed the polls, they're going to collect a variety of data. We're going to get both qualitative and quantitative data from these polls. And what I mean by that is, so qualitative data is something like somebody posts a comment telling me their opinion. That is some quantitative data. The qualitative data is the actual votes themselves, the number of votes people cast, the number of categories, the total numbers of all these different polls, and how many people respond, and all those fun statistical facts. And we get to have a meta conversation about the method, how to best get a true, simple, random sample of what we're trying to measure here. We get to talk about the higher levels of meta analysis too. Obviously, a poll isn't changing whether or not evolution is true, but we can still use the poll to like gauge people's opinions and see what level they're at, and maybe formulate ways to better communicate with people. And I'm hoping this series of polls will facilitate some friendly interactions too, because I know that creationists, they have as complicated and complex a spectrum of opinions as any other group of people have. So you will see creationists and evolutionists agreeing on some of these polls, like they might not agree on this one right here, for instance, based on your understanding of science. Is the theory of evolution by natural selection a widely accepted scientific explanation for the diversity of life? They might not agree on that, but a creationist and an evolutionist might very well agree on, what is the shape of the Earth best described as? I think a lot of young Earth creationists do still accept that the shape of the Earth is an oblate spheroid. It is spherical. It's round. It's three-dimensional. It's not flat. It's not dirt pizza shaped. It's not square. It's three-dimensional. She thick. She round. She a spherical planet. So there will probably be some agreements there, hopefully, too, to maybe temper some of the constant disagreement and bickering. And it does measure a variety of opinions about not just science itself, but the philosophy of how and why you believe things, and especially what you do when you encounter new evidence that contradicts previous beliefs. So, since we've kind of talked about the how and why a little bit, one thing I didn't explain about the how. I explained, like, okay, some of how this can be quantitative, but the interesting thing is, and I think this was kind of clever, a lot of the questions I have set them up so that they're also a gradient. So it's not, your answer doesn't just give me qualitative data; it also gives me quantitative data. So, like for instance, the first one I put up was, based on your understanding of science, is the theory of evolution by natural selection a widely accepted scientific explanation for the diversity of life? So if you voted strongly agree, for instance, I might give you a +2. If you vote agree, I'll give you a +1. If you wrote neutral, a minus and +0, just zero, And if you wrote if you put disagree, I don't think evolution's widely accepted by scientists, I'd put, a -1. Or if you went and wrote in the comments, strongly disagree, yeah, I give you a -2 or something. And I can add all these up and draw a mean and maybe get some somewhat uh, intelligible information about how uh, adaptable my audience is intellectually, how curious they are, what their opinion is on new evidence and how they're likely to react to it. And yeah, I think this will be interesting. I'm hoping to see Rebekah, of course, reply to all the polls and put in her votes and comments. I'm sure there will be fascinating. She's a very interesting person. She's got all kinds of fascinating viewpoints, and we've had some interesting conversations. I hope we'll probably have some more there too. But now that I've just explained kind of the reason for the video and the polls series and what I'm hoping to learn and why and how I'm doing it, let's go over the polls themselves a little bit and talk about them. And then when you're done watching the video where I explain them, go on over and do some voting and commenting of them yourself. Because the more people who comment and vote, the better and more comprehensive data I'm going to get. So here we start with the first one. Based on your understanding of science, is the theory of evolution by natural selection a widely accepted scientific explanation for the diversity of life? Obviously, on this one, I am a strong agree. That is what my entire channel is about. I believe that the theory of evolution by natural selection is accepted by basically the entire scientific community. I don't want to put an exact statistic on it, but I'm sure the number is very, very high. I would venture to maybe put a minimum on it. It's minimum like 90+% of scientists, especially in like the relevant fields like biology, evolutionary biology, paleontology. It's like 99% of scientists. So I think for me, the vote on this one is a strongly agree. So I am for sure a +2. So you know what? While we're making this video, just for fun, let's go ahead and actually record my numbers and write some stuff down and get some data analysis going. So where is my dry erase board? My hand. So I'm back. I got my handy dandy dry erase board to do some of the actual maths while we're having fun and talking about this. Can you wait? What happened? Is it still up or is it gone? It's not showing for me right now. Oh, can you hear me? Am I getting through to you? Hello. Okay, so on the first poll, I am a solid +2. Question one, and we'll put like a little synopsis. Scientific community, +2. Okay, and then we'll move on to the next poll here. And this is where I explained my, methodology and just a quick paragraph or two to entice people, interest them. And I left a comment adding something I missed in my initial analysis right off the rip to show, I'm serious. I am interested about this. I do want to get as good and as accurate of data as possible. So the next poll question, which of the following statements best represents your personal view on the origin and diversity of life on Earth? And I put, evolution is a foundational evidence-based scientific theory. So 2, origins in evolution, +2. My cat is doing something annoying. Hey, stop that, Christopher. What are you doing? Driving me crazy. Anyways, okay, so evolution is a foundational evidence-based scientific theory. It's good for the origin and diversity of life because there's not just evolution, there's both evolution and abiogenesis, chemical evolution, prebiotic origins of life. So that is poll 2. So far I'm rocking at a +2 on both answers, so +4, maybe even like a +3. Honestly, I'm almost like extra convinced of these things. So this one is a pretty easy one for me because I think technically All of them are correct. Which of these scientific fields do you think provides the strongest evidence for evolution? Select all that apply. Now, unfortunately, YouTube won't let you actually select all that apply. So if you do want to select all that apply, you go down into the YouTube comments and you leave a comment, which somebody did leave some polite comments here. Of course, the infamous Aunt Jer, I think, is all I got so far. All she said was, or Aunt Jer is actually a fellow, I think. I can't recall Aunt Jer. I shall just refer to you as Aunt Jer. Aunt Jer said that they didn't know that they wanted to select all of them, but they couldn't because YouTube doesn't allow them to. And I said correct, basically, because I think not only are all of these very strong evidence of evolution, there's also like two other categories that I couldn't fit in because there wasn't enough room and they're not loading right now. I did leave a little gradient. I think the fossil record is the best, followed by biogeography, followed by genetics and DNA, followed by developmental biology and comparative anatomy and so on. So, okay, so that is just an example of how I would gradate the evidence of evolution. So the next poo is loading. Here we go. Well, it finally loaded the comments there right before it switched back. Great, great. Perfect. Anyways, hey, yo, and then it dropped again. Here we go. StreamYard. Crappy $200 laptop can't handle my streams. Dropping too much science. Too much mad knowledge. No one can handle it. All right, here we go. Almost back. Let's make sure this is on the right poll while I'm waiting for it to pop back up. Yeah, I won't click on any more comments because that's probably what made it poop out. Okay, that was the one we were on before, so now we're on this one. Okay. Almost back up. Burp, burp. Share screen once again. Share screen. YouTube. And we're back. Okay. The next one. This one is, first, before I move on to the next one, the previous one. Okay, those were the first two, and I got a +2 on both of those, maybe even a +3. And then this one, I definitely got a +3 on because I not only said all the categories, I said categories beyond it. So categories +3. And then the next question. The age of the Earth is best described as, and then obviously my answer was 4.5 billion years old. So I'm just writing 4.5 bill and another +2, although it almost could be a +3 yet again, because this one has so many good reasons for it. The heat problem, the mud problem, the food problem, just the problem of radiometric decay alone, the things that the heat problem breaks down into, the radiometric problem, the decay problem, the tectonic problem. So yeah, 4.5 billion for sure, +2 on that. And then next one, this one is the one that, God, I hope every young Earth creationist going through, or, theistic evolution, I hope everybody going through on this one knows that the Earth is a sphere. So on 5, we're going with globe Earth +2. And I hope everybody else is too. And then next one, we're moving on to another topic of scientific contention and controversiality among the lay people, but not so much among the scientific community themselves. Scientists accept that vaccines are a safe and effective way to prevent infectious diseases. The scientific community strongly agrees with that statement, and so do I. Unfortunately, there are lots of people who will not agree with this statement. So 6, we're going with just general vax is a +2 because there's going to be more specific vaccine questions after that. I think the next 2 are vaccine specific questions. So 7, poll number 7 here is about trust in the organizations that give out vaccine info. And I clarified in my comment that I trust organizations where profit isn't involved a great deal, like the CDC, the way they're a government organization and their only really job is to be effective and actually get the job done. And that's often very effective for, spending in infrastructure. So I'm 100% a +2 on that. Trust the CDC +2. And then, have you made the choice to get any recommended vaccines? This is another easy one. I've got every vaccine that I know of that they offer pretty much yet. Personal record, personal vax is another solid +2. I stick them with me, stick me with them, inject it into me and help it keep me safe because I believe in medicine and not woo woo. So, poll number 9 now is getting more into cognitive adaptability, intellectual flexibility, and neuroplasticity a little bit here. So 9 is asking, have you ever completely changed your mind about a core belief? And this channel wouldn't exist if that weren't the case. This channel exists because I used to be a young earth creationist and now I'm not anymore. So 100% I voted yes, I have on multiple occasions on this. Changing beliefs, I'm putting a +2. And then poll number 10, do you actively seek out new information that challenges your old beliefs? And again, I voted yes, I do on this because I used to be a young earth creationist and now I'm not. And that's largely because I sought out belief that challenged my views. So again, uh seek out new info +2. And then poll number 11. When you hear an opposing view, how do you react? And I got to admit, on this one, it's a variety of answers, and I think that would be correct for most people. But because the specific context is young earth creationism, I said that I do try to understand their reasoning, and that's very true. And I have, written down my understanding and talked about my understanding with young earth creationists, and I've had lots of them tell me I understand their stuff fine. And I left a comment on that one. Definitely check that one out if you are a young earth creationist and try and reply to it. It's one that I post to prove that I do try to understand your reasoning, and I think it's a good one because I've posted it previously and creationists have replied by saying, yes, this is a good understanding. One even thanked me for not straw manning young earth creationism. So definitely check that out. And then this one is one of the tougher ones for the creationists. So I did try to keep them fairly neutral, but this one is not really neutral because the data isn't precisely neutral, in my opinion, is the main reason this is not neutral. But it is fairly neutral in terms of your actual solution. But one quick before opposing, I'm going to give myself just a +1 on that because I'm going to overcorrect a little bit for bias there because I think it's better to err on the side of caution. And I'm going to err on the side of caution with this. But 12, the skulls, I think for sure A or B, and both of those are +2 answers. So I'm going to put skulls +2, and then poll number 13. Okay, this one is for the creationists especially. And it's simple. So you're a creationist, A? Do any of these describe you? And I've got the YEC flat Earth, the YEC, the OEC, the old Earth creationist, and the theistic evolutionist. And if I could vote on this one, it would be theistic evolutionist. But I was, at one point in my life, 3 out of 4 of these things. Like I said, never was quite crazy enough to be a flat earther. So let's give myself a. We're just going to give this one too many options that apply to me. So this one's going to be a +0. That one's going to not affect our mean at all. And then 14, poll number 14. And this is getting into philosophical stuff here a little bit. Which of these statements best aligns with your worldview? And we've got reality can be proven by science. That's scientific materialism. Reality includes both science and spiritual truths. That's dualism. Reality is fundamentally spiritual and science is a limited lens. And then lastly, my view is not captured here. Obviously, I put down that reality can be proven by science. It would be kind of silly for me to be going into the sciences without having a scientific viewpoint. And my specific scientific viewpoint is materialist, which I definitely think is the best one and would be willing to argue that at length. Okay, and then, so that one's going to be another +2. And then lastly, or no, this isn't the last one yet. We're getting close to it, though. Okay, these are the last 2. First, yes, last 2. Which of the following, this is number 15. Which of the following best describes your view on creation myths from different cultures? And we have 1, they're all just stories, not literal truth. 2, they are all rooted in a single true divine act. 3, only the one I believe in is true. And 4, I'm not familiar with other creation myths. And of course, I put that these are just stories, not the literal truth. So go ahead, give myself a +2 on that. And the reason I put that is because it is a pretty well-known scholarly consensus opinion that creation myths are anthropological and sociological, that, you know, tribes and cultures of people made creation myths to answer questions, organize culture, do all kinds of interesting things. And then poll number 16. Speciation is. And then the answers we've got are A, evolution. It is change over time and population of organisms. B, macroevolution. It is the creation of new species. C, change within a kind. I'll define what kind is in the comments. And I really want to see some comments from young Earth creationists here and other creationists that use the kind term, because I'm still trying to lock down some kind of taxonomically useful, distinct meaning for that term. And then lastly, new reproductive barriers, pre-post zygotic sexual morphological. So this one is a little tricksy for the creationists too, because pretty much only one of these is a creationist answer, and it involves the vague kind term. But all 3 of the other answers are answers that support evolution, but they're all definitely fundamentally true. So evolution is change in the heritable characteristics of a population of living organisms over time, exactly as the first option describes, so evolution. It is also the creation of new species, so it is technically and definitionally macroevolution. But what it really is the last answer, and I think this one is a good one because it gets into the data of why it is what it is, and that is that it is the development of new reproductive barriers, pre, post, zygotic, or sexual, or morphological, or genetic, or behavioral, all these different things. Part of what makes a species what it is its behavior. So, for instance, something that makes the Chihuahua species what it is the fact that a wolf is generally not going to choose to mate with a Chihuahua, even though it may be technically the same species and could probably even create a hybrid offspring, like if it was a male Chihuahua with a female wolf, possibly, but their behaviors separate them too much. So I would put everything but C here. And so that's going to be another +3 from me. And so what I can add up there's there's a couple of ways here we could statistically analyze this data that we've gathered from asking these polls and answering my answers myself, and analyzing them here. I've got them here on the board. And one of the ways I'm immediately seeing you could analyze them is you could pair them up into groups. The first couple of questions are all about earth science and evolution, and then you could group the vaccine questions into their own group. You could group the philosophy of truth questions into their own group. You could group the neuroplasticity questions into their own group and add it up and get specific scores. So, like on the evolution table, I would be getting a very high evolution score. You're not likely to convince me evolution isn't a valid scientific, quantifiable, falsifiable, possible solution to unanswered questions about natural history and unsolved problems in our study of it, and how to use what we learn in those studies to better improve human existence. Gosh, I say that so much. Anyways, so that's that. And my scores in the vaccines, also, it's very high. I'm very pro-vaccine, not likely to convince me that vaccines are dangerous or more deadly than the option to forego vaccines. On the changing my viewpoints, I score very high. I seem to have good neuroplasticity and adaptability and cognitive functioning there, and that's probably why I am no longer a young earth creationist and am now an evolutionary biologist. And then we've got all these other scores. But another way you could do it is you could just take them all and add them up and get an average and see what your evolution, creation, pseudoscience, politics, overall mean number is. And I think it'll be really interesting to do that when more people have added in and given us more context. But for now, I'm going to just take mine and do it for you guys for fun. So we've got 2, 4, 7, 9, 11, 13, 14, 13, 15, 17, 19, 21, 22, 24, 26, 28, 31 out of 16. I've got almost a +2, and that's on a scale of -3 to +3. So I am very close to an evolutionist you shouldn't bother talking to if you're a creationist, I guess, is one way you could analyze this data, because I'm very strongly convinced by evolution. It's very evidence-based, my conviction. So if you're going to convince me, you're probably going to need some better, stronger evidence than what evolution has for creationism. And I've also searched that kind of stuff out a lot, and I haven't found anything for it. So I'm interested to see where people weigh in on these polls and what their opinions will be. I definitely invite anybody to offer their statistical analysis about how we can get a wider, simple random sample, or a wider population with a more representative simple random sample, as wide a population as possible with as accurate of a simple random sample as possible, and it would be ideal, of course. And then just comment and share. I think this is a fun idea. Rebekah, congrats. This is a very fun idea. I hope you consider this a worthy contribution to your idea and that you enjoy it and weigh in on the polls and give me some comments. Thanks.